What from the Cape can you discern at sea? Nothing at all. It's a high-wrought flood. I count twixt the heaven, and the men descry a sail. Methink the winds had spoke aloud at land. A fuller blast ne'er shook our battlements. If it had roughened so upon the sea, what ribs of oak, when mountains melt on them, can hold the mortise? What shall we bear of this? A segregation of the Turkish fleet, for do but stand upon the foaming shore. The chidden billow seems to pelt the clouds, the wind shake the surge with high and monstrous mien, seems to cast the water on the burning bear, and quench the gods of the ever-fixed pole. I never did like molestation view on the enchafed flood. If that the Turkish fleet be not ensheltered or embayed, they are drowned. It's impossible they bear it out. News, lads! Our war has done. The desperate tempest hath so bound the Turks that their designment holds a noble ship of Venice, has seen a grievous wreck and suffers a most part of their fleet. How? Is it true? The ship is here put in. A Veronese, Michael Cassio, lieutenant to the warlike moor Othello, is come on shore. The moor himself at sea, and is in full commission here for Cyprus. I'm glad on it. 'Tis a worthy governor. But this came Cassio. Though he speaks of comfort touching the Turkish laws, yet he looks sadly, and prays for the moor be safe, for they were parted with foul and violent tempest. Pray heavens he be, for I have served him, and the man commands like a full soldier. Let's to the seaside. Oh, as well to see the vessel that's come in, as to throw out our eyes for brave Othello, even till we make the main and the aerial blue an indistinct regard. Come, let's do so, for every minute is expectancy, and of more arrivals. Thanks. You are valiant of this warlike isle, that so approves the moor. Oh, let the heavens give him defense against the elements, for I have lost us him on a dangerous sea. Is he well shipped?
His bark is stoutly timbered, his pilot a very expert and approved allowance. Therefore my hopes, not surfeited to death, stand in full cure. What noise? My hopes do shape him for the governor.
They do discharge their shot of courtesy, our friends at least.
I pray you, sir, go forth, and give us truth who 'tis that is arrived.
I shall.
Most fortunately, he hath achieved a maid that paragons description and wild fame, one that excels the quirks of blazoning pens, and, in the essential vesture of creation, does tire the engineer. How now? Who has put in?
'Tis one Iago, ancient to the general.
Has had most favorable and happy speed. Tempests themselves, high seas and howling winds, the guttered rocks and congregated sands, traitors in steep to clog the guiltless keel, as having sense of beauty, do omit their mortal natures, letting go safely by the divine Desdemona. She that I spake of, our great captain's captain, left in the conduct of the bold Iago, whose footing here anticipates our thoughts. A Senite speed. Great Jove, Othello guard, and swell his sail with thine own powerful breath, that he may bless this bay with his tall ship, make love's quick pants in Desdemona's arms, give renewed fire to our extincted spirits, and bring all Cyprus comfort. Oh, behold, The riches of the ship is come on shore. Ye men of Cyprus, let her have your knees. Hail to thee, lady, and the grace of heaven before, behind thee, and on every hand, and wheel thee round. He is not yet arrived, nor know I aught, but that he's well and will be shortly here.
The great contention of the sea and skies parted our fellowship. But hark! A sail!
A sail! A sail! They give their greeting to the citadel. This likewise is a friend.
See for the news. Good ancient, you're welcome. Welcome, mistress. Let it not gall your patience, good Iago, that I extend my manners. It's my breeding that gives me this bold show of courtesy.
Sir, would she give you so much of her lips as of her tongue she oft bestows on me? You'll have enough. Alas, she has no speech. In faith, too much. I find it still, when I have a list to sleep. Marry before your ladyship, I grant. She puts her tongue a little in her heart, and shies with thinking. You have little cause to say so. Come on, come on. Your pictures out of doors. Bells in your parlors, wild cats in your kitchens. Saints in your injuries, devils being offended. Players in your housewifery and housewives in your beds. Oh, fie upon thee, slanderer. Nay, it is true, or else I'm a Turk. You rise to play and go to bed to work. You shall not write my praise. No, let me not.
What wouldst thou write of me if thou shouldst praise me?
Oh, gentle lady, do not put me to it, for I am nothing if not critical. Come on, essay. There's one gone to the harbour? Aye, madam. I'm not merry, but I do beguile the thing I am by seeming otherwise. Come, how wouldst thou praise me? I am about it, but indeed my invention comes from my pate as bird lime does from frizz. It plucks out brains and all. But my muse labours, and thus she's delivered. If she be fair and wise, fairness and wit, the once we use, the other useth it.
Well praised. How if she be black and witty?
If she be black, and thereto have a wit, she'll find a white that shall her blackness fit.
Rest and rest.
How if fair and foolish? She never yet was foolish that was fair, for even her folly helped her to an heir.
These are old fond paradoxes to make fools laugh in the alehouse. What miserable praise hast thou for her that's foul and foolish?
There's none so foul and foolish thereunto, but does foul pranks which fair and wise ones do.
Heavy ignorance! Thou praisest the worst the best. But what praise couldst thou bestow on a deserving woman indeed, one that, in the authority of her merit, did justly put on the vouch of very malice itself?
She that was ever fair and never proud, had tongue at will and yet was never loud, never lacked gold and yet went never gay, fled from her wish and yet said, now I may. She that being angered, her revenge being nigh, bade her wrong stay and her displeasure fly. She that in wisdom never was so frail to change the cod's head for the salmon's tail. She that could think and ne'er disclose her mind, see suitors following and not look behind. She was a wight, if ever such wight were.
To do what?
To suckle fools and chronicle small beer.
Oh, most lame and impotent conclusion! Oh, do not learn of him, Emilia, though he be thy husband. How say you, Cassio? Is he not a most profane and liberal counselor?
He speaks from home, madam. You may relish him more in the soldier than in the scholar.
He takes her by the palm Aye, well said. Whisper. With as little a web as this will I ensnare as great a fly as Cassio. Aye. Smile upon her. Do. I will give thee in thine own courtship.
You say true. 'Tis so indeed. If such tricks as these strip you out of your lieutenantry, it had been better you had not kissed your 3 fingers so oft, which now again you are most apt to play the sir in. Very good. Well kissed. An excellent courtesy. 'Tis so, indeed. Yet again your fingers to your lips. Would they were clyster pipes for your sake. Do-do, do-do. The more I know his trumpet. 'Tis truly so. Let's meet him and receive him. Lo, where he comes. Oh, my fair warrior, my dear Othello, it gives me wonder great as my content to see you here before me. O my soul's joy, if after every tempest come such calms, may the winds blow till they have wakened death, and let the labouring bark climb hills of seas Olympus high, and duck again as low as hells from heaven. If it were now to die, 'twere now to be the most happy, for I fear my soul hath her content so absolute that not another comfort like to this succeeds an unknown fate. The heavens forbid, but that our loves and comforts should increase, even as our days do grow. Amen to that, sweet powers. I cannot speak enough of this content. It stops me here. It is too much of joy, and this, the greatest discords will be. That e'er our hearts should make. Oh, you are well tuned now. But I'll set down the pegs that make this music, as honest as I am. Come, let us to the castle. News, friends, our wars are done, the Turks are drowned. Woo! How does my old acquaintance of this isle? Honey, you shall be well desired in Cyprus. I have found great love amongst them. Oh, my sweet, I prattle out of fashion, and I dote in mine own comforts.
I prithee, good Iago, go to the bay and disembark my coffers. Bring thou the master to the citadel. He is a good one. His worthiness does challenge much respect. Come, Desdemona, once more, well met at Cyprus. Do thou meet me presently at the harbor. Come hither. If thou beest valiant, as they say, base men, being in love, have then a nobility in their natures more than is native to them, list me. The lieutenant tonight watches on the court of guard. First, let me tell thee this. Desdemona is directly in love with him.
With him? Why, 'tis not possible.
Lay thy finger thus, and let thy soul be instructed. Mark me with what violence she first loved the Moor, but for bragging and telling her fantastical lies. And will she love him still for prating? Let not thy discreet heart think it. Her eye must be fed. And what delight shall she have to look on the devil? When the blood is made dull with the act of sport, there should be again to inflame it, and then to give satiety of fresh appetite, loveliness and favour, sympathy and years, manners and beauties, all which the more is defective in. Now, for want of these required conveniences, her delicate tenderness will find itself abused, begin to heave the gorge, and disrelish and abhor the moor. Very nature will instruct her in it and compel her to some second choice. Now, sir, this granted, as it is a most pregnant and unforced position, who stands so eminent in the degree of this fortune as Cassio does? A knave very voluble, no further conscionable than putting on the mere form of civil and humane seeming, for the better compassing of his salt and most hidden loose affection.
Why none? Why none a slipper and subtle knave, a finder of occasions, that has an eye can stamp and counterfeit advantages, though true advantage never present itself, a devilish knave. Besides, the knave is handsome, young, and hath all those requisites in him that folly and green minds look after. A pestilent, complete knave. And the woman hath found him already.
I cannot believe that in her. She is full of most blessed condition.
Blessed fig's end. The wine she drinks is made of grapes. If she had been blessed, she would never have loved the Moor. Blessed pudding, didst thou not see her paddle with the palm of his hand? Didst not mark that?
Yes, that I did, but that was but courtesy.
Lechery by this hand. An index and obscure prologue to the history of lust and foul thoughts. They met so near with their lips that their breaths embraced together. Villainous thoughts, Roderigo. When these mutualities so marshal the way, hard at hand comes the master and main exercise, the incorporate conclusion. Psh! But, sir, be you ruled by me, I have brought you from Venice. Watch you tonight for the command I'll lay it upon you. Cassio knows you not. I'll not be far from you. Do you find some occasion to anger Cassio either by speaking too loud or tainting his discipline, or from what other course you please, which the time shall more favorably minister?
Well,
sir, he is rash and very sudden in choler, and haply may strike at you, provoke him that he may. For even out of that I will cause these of Cyprus to mutiny, whose qualification shall come into no true taste again, but by the displanting of Cassio. So shall you have a shorter journey to your desires by the means I shall then have to prefer them, and the impediment most profitably removed, without that which there were no expectations of our prosperity.
I will do this if I can bring it to any opportunity.
I warrant thee. Meet me by and by at the citadel. I must fetch his necessaries ashore. Farewell.
Adieu.
That Cassio loves her, I do well believe it. That she loves him, 'tis apt and of great credit. The more, howbeit I endure him not, is of a constant, loving, noble nature. And I dare think he'll prove to Desdemona a most dear husband. Now I do love her too, not out of absolute lust, though peradventure I stand accounted for as great a sin, but partly led to die at my revenge, for that I do suspect the lusty Moor hath leaped into my seat, the thought whereof doth like a poisonous mineral gnaw at my inwards, and nothing can or shall content my soul till I am evened with him, wife for wife. Or failing so, yet that I put the Moor at least into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure. Which thing to do, if this poor trash of Venice, whom I trace for his quick hunting, stand the putting on, I'll have our Michael Cassio on the hip. Abuse him to the Moor in the right garb, for I fear Cassio with my nightcap too. Make the Moor thank me, love me, and reward me for making him egregiously an ass, and practicing upon his peace and quiet, even to madness. 'Tis here, but yet confused. Knavery's plain face is never seen till used.